Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of NEC On The Run. I'm your host Kyle Turner and today we're talking with Ron Ratner talking men's basketball. Ron, there was a little bit of a shakeup at the top. Give me an update on where we stand.
It took a while, Kyle, but we finally had one team emerge on top. That team, Mount St. Mary's, with a 9-1 record. The best NEC start in program history for the Mountaineers. They're riding a 7-game win streak heading into this week's action. During the Jamie and Christian era, we've seen the Mount win up-tempo, shooting lots of threes. We've seen them full-court pressing. But what we're seeing this year is the Mount grinding out some wins. They've held their last 3 opponents to just 49 points a game on 33% shooting from the field. We saw it last week on our CBS Sports Network televised game down at Knott Arena. Robert Morris, Mount St. Mary's, old rivals. Colonials used a 15-0 run, seemingly to take control of the game early in the second half, but the Mount came roaring back. We saw not one, but 2 Chris Ray dunks that had Knott Arena shaking. And I'll tell you something, Kyle, the crowd support down at Knott Arena has been fantastic. They're playing close to capacity crowds. Fans are into it. Students are back. It's going to be a tough place for opposing teams to win in the NEC tournament should the Mount secure the number 1 seed at year's end. Now that we've crossed the halfway point, good time to take a look back at the preseason coaches poll. One thing you'll notice, the red flash of St. Francis U picked 9th in that poll. They're not 9th now. They are 6-4. All alone in 4th place. Last week had 2 nail-biting wins. In those wins, NEC Player of the Week, Isaiah Blackmon was the man. He averaged over 22 points a game, didn't commit a turnover in nearly 70 minutes, and he hit 8 out of 10 shots from three-point territory. Just a scorching shooting display put on by Blackmon. But most important was his work down the stretch in these games. In a win at Wagner, he scored 7 straight points down the stretch, including a go-ahead three-pointer with 2:16 to play, and then a layup with 18 seconds to go that gave the Red Flash a 3-point lead. Then 2 days later, he was back at it again against Robert Morris. It was one of the best NEC games of the year. In overtime, Blackmon scored 8 points, including what proved to be the game winner on this three-pointer with 25 seconds to go. Best part of this play to me was Yorgos Angelou's pass to him, that quick kick out that gave Blackmon the open look and the shot that won the game. That wasn't the only fantastic finish last week. How about the final 13.8 seconds of Saturday's TV game between Bryant and FDU? There had been a grand total of just 3 points scored in overtime to that point, all by Bryant, till Darian Anderson's layup with 27 seconds to go cut the lead to 1. FDU elected not to foul, went for the steal, and got it. Darnell Edge with the steal, feeds it to Earl Potts Jr. for the layup. FDU has the lead, but what happens next? No timeout called. Nizre Zuzwa takes the ball up the court and, as calm as cool can be, sticks a pull-up jumper for the win for Bryant, evening Bryant's record at 5-5. FDU almost pulled it out still with this half-court heave by Darian Anderson, but the Knights suffered just their 2nd loss of the year. They're 1 game back at 8-2. Zuzwa was the hero, averaged over 24 points a game last week. He's the NEC's leading scorer with 20.3 points per game on the year. Couple of quick shout-outs. How about Central Connecticut State? Beat 7-3 LIU 61-52 last week. Suddenly the Blue Devils won 2 of their last 3, just 1 game out of a playoff spot. The teams they beat, St. Francis U and LIU, quality wins for Central. Austin Nels had 20 points against the Blackbirds, made this big layup late in the game to clinch it for the Blue Devils. Another shout out to Wagner's Corey Henson. He's known for his 3-point shooting, but he hit this game-winning layup to beat St. Francis Brooklyn on Saturday. Good job, Corey Henson. Wagner still right there in the mix.
All right, Ron, well, a lot of exciting finishes last week in NEC men's hoops. Hopefully there's more this week. Let's take a Twitter timeout, though. What do you got for me on social media out there?
Kyle, we're so proud of our alums that have come through the conference, especially Julian Boyd of LIU Brooklyn. He was the 2010-11 Player of the Year. He won 3 NEC titles, but he went through so much during his time in Brooklyn. He had a heart condition that sat him out for 1 year, and then he tore his ACL on 3 occasions, which ended his college career. It took him a while to rehab, but now he has his professional career rolling. He played in Finland last year. Now he's in Canada, ironically, playing with former teammate Kyle Johnson for the London Lightning. And last week, As you see in this tweet, Julian Boyd is your NBL Canada Player of the Week. He had a 32-point, 13-rebound game last week, and he's averaging over 18 points a game for the season. It's great to see Julian Boyd in top form, one of the best ever in Northeast Conference basketball, and we couldn't be prouder of him.
All right, Ron, well, we always like to hear about former NEC student athletes doing well professionally, and we're going to shift to the Under the Radar segment. I'm sure Julian Boyd was never an Under the Radar guy, but who is your Under the Radar player for this week?
Okay, Kyle, under the radar, let's talk about the FDU Knights. Now, they're deep. They're a loaded team. They'll play 10 or 11 guys in a game. Greg Herenda likes to go deep in the bench. But one guy who stands out to me, and he got a couple starts last week, which is rare for him, is Darnell Edge, who's been so good off the bench his first 2 years. If you look at an old school reference, they used to call Vinnie Johnson from the Detroit Pistons the microwave, because he'd come in, he'd heat up, and he'd score right away. I like Darnell Edge because he scores efficiently. Last week he started, he had 13 points and 8 rebounds versus St. Francis Brooklyn. Then he had the big steal we talked about before, which almost gave FDU the win over Bryant. He rarely turns the ball over. And what I like is in conference play this year, he's shooting almost 57% from the field and 42% from three-point range. He can really shoot it, and he gives Herenda another weapon on a team loaded with them. And when it comes down the stretch of a game, his 90% free throw shooting, it doesn't hurt.
All right, Ron, well, folks can take a look at Darnell Edge and see what he does this weekend. He's in one of the TV games. We'll talk about that later. But now let's move on to Who Said It. Let's see if I can guess the quote.
Kyle, you are 2 for 4. You're batting 500. Let's see what you got this time. Who said it? There's going to be some jitters in that. The whole TV doesn't bother me, but these guys all ran out and got new haircuts and started doing all kinds of stuff they hadn't been doing before. So apparently the TV thing was important. Wow. Kyle, who said that?
I'm going to go with Nizre Zuzwa.
You're getting buzzed yet again. 2 for 5, 40%. That was Jamian Christian after the Robert Morris Mount game on CBS. It was, as I said before, it wasn't the prettiest game, and certainly in the first half, no one had their shooting eye. So I think what he was alluding to was guys get excited, they go out, they want to look good on TV, but sometimes it doesn't happen. So sorry, Kyle. Better luck next time on Who Said It.
All right, Ron, well, now I'm in a 2-quote slide. I got to get out of this slump next week, but let's
read more. You got to read more.
Let's shift the focus from me to somebody else. And give me a fact. Let's move on to the Did You Know.
Did you know that Isaiah Blackmon, who we touched on before, is now shooting 51.5% from three-point range on the year? League play, almost 61%. So it got me thinking, what if he's able to keep this up the final 8 games of the regular season? If he does, and he shoots over 50%, he will be one of just 7 players in the history of the conference to finish the year making at least half their shots from outside the arc. And when you see the players on this list, guys like Mike Izzolino, a former SFU grad, and Dave Calloway, these are some of the top players, top shooters in this league's history. So he's just a sophomore. He can take it to the hole and score, but he's lethal from outside the arc.
All right, Ron, well, 51%, that is really impressive from beyond the arc. Now it's time to take a look at what games we have on TV this week.
Big week. We have 2 ESPNU nationally televised games within 48 hours. First on Thursday, we're back at Knott Arena. That place should be hopping for when Bryant comes in. Mount Bryant, every time they play, you get points on the board. Should be an exciting game. 7 p.m. on the U. Then on Saturday, brunch with the NEC. It's Wagner and FDU in a rematch. They already met earlier this season on CBS Sports Network. This time we'll see them on ESPNU. Should be a good one in Hackensack when they meet up on Saturday.
All right, fans, don't forget to check out all other league games live on NECFrontRow.com. And you also have the NEC TV games that Ron just mentioned. You've got Mount St. Mary's hosting Bryant at 7 p.m. on ESPNU. And then on Saturday, like Ron said, have some brunch, Wagner and FDU, 11 a.m. on ESPNU. That's it for this week's edition of NEC On The Run, talking men's basketball with Ron Ratner. For NECFrontRow.com, I'm Kyle Turner. We'll see you next time.